how do we do our part, but at the same time bringing all the stakeholders together around the table? Because I strongly believe that's part of what defines us, is our environment in California.
Republicans aren't known for being environmentalists, let's just be real. And so you've kind of made a mark for yourself down in San Diego as a Republican who's also an environmentalist. And you're seeing that play out in a bunch of different policy proposals you have. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that's working in San Diego?
Well, I've never seen the environment as a partisan issue. I mean, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or independent, decline to state, I mean, we all breathe the same air. It's our water. I feel strongly and passionately about that. And, as a father who has, 2 kids, I feel very passionate about their future. And, our environment, it's part of our quality of life, is who we are as Californians, certainly who we are as San Diegans. So, yeah, I've been very out front on, a variety of programs, whether that's water recycling, whether that's our climate action plan that we're moving forward with, which is how do we do our part, but at the same time bringing all the stakeholders together around the table? Because I strongly believe that's part of what defines us, is our environment in California.
Sure. What are the main points of the climate action plan?
Building for a sustainable future in San Diego. And so part of the things what I did is we got our own plan together, brought in environmentalists, brought in folks from our Chamber of Commerce, our building industry, and said, how do we make sure we're doing our part to reduce greenhouse gas emissions? What are we doing with electrical vehicle charging stations, solar charging stations? How are we doing for the conduit for all new buildings in San Diego that will have the conduit and capacity to allow for solar hookups, to allow for electrical vehicle charging stations? I think these are mostly common sense things that have strong environmental support, had strong business support. And one of the things that we're increasingly being known as in San Diego is for our clean tech energy companies that are starting, what we're doing on algae, biofuels. That's a huge competitive advantage for us in San Diego, and it's something I'm very proud of. And I want to make sure we're growing and fostering. These are technologies that we can use around the state and around the country.
One of the issues that people talk about, and they send letters, I'm sure, to you and to the local newspaper, the UT down in San Diego, is the plastic bag ban potential for San Diego. I know other places like Solano Beach and others in the area have banned plastic bags. And you support that? You don't support that?
Yeah, I said very clearly, we put it on hold while we watched what was happening with the state, but we're moving forward on the environmental impact report in San Diego. We said, let's take a look at that. What is it going to mean? What is it not going to mean? And so that's something that we're moving forward with.
When people say, and I've heard this term used, like that banning plastic bags is just knee-jerk environmentalism, it's just symbolic, it doesn't do much. How would you respond to that, or maybe it's too early in the process?
I think it's a passionate issue on both sides, and I think what we've tried to do is to say, how do we bring in folks to say what is the right policy, what's going to make sense? It's not surprising that you're going to get some of that back and forth, but my style and my leadership style has always been, let's bring folks together around the table. Let's talk about what, you're never always going to agree, but let's try to fashion those policies that we think have the best chance of success.
Sure, and next year there's talk that there's even going to be a referendum on the California ballot to ban bags statewide. There's some people who are talking about potentially doing that. There's others who are talking about fighting that. Does that impact your discussions at all in San Diego?
Yeah, I think it always does. That's one of the reasons why we're saying, you don't want to duplicate what's happening at the state, but also you have to craft policies that make sense for a city-by-city basis. That's the approach we're taking, and I think that's the right approach.